enforcing contract aspect of Bitcoin, and you just replace Bitcoin currency by another currency. In this case, the currency is Rakuten Yen. If both Alice and Bob trust Rakuten Yen, then no problem. Alice just sends the yen to Bob directly without any exchange, without even Rakuten implicated in that. Okay?
Yes, if it's backed by real fiat money, but if it's backed by Bitcoin, there must be exchange, and I'm wondering how it's working. How Rakuten will handle?
So what will happen is that imagine that Bob have the Rakuten Yen. So in this case, it's a simple example where I've said where all Bob can cash out is yen. You just pay another shop in Bitcoin, and under the hood, Rakuten, by using the rate of the day, will just send the Bitcoin to Satoshi and cash in the yen of Bob. But we can very well imagine that in the contract of Rakuten, they say we engage ourselves that if you give us the yen Rakuten, you send the yen Rakuten on an ATM of Rakuten, then we will deliver cash from that. We can imagine that.
So are you saying that Rakuten Japanese yen on blockchain is not backed by fiat money, but backed by Bitcoin?
Backed by?
Reserved by...
So one thing to know is that this fiat, this Coloredcoin yen, the bank most likely have some obligation, legal obligation to back the yen by what we call the reserve system. For example, in your bank accounts, if you have 1,000 yen, then the bank by decree is obligated to back this 10,000 yen on your bank account by 100, I think it's something like 10% reserve, by 10% of cash and zero money. This is not difference, okay? If the government imposed to Rakuten to keep a reserve so people can cash out this yen with by real cash, it's not different. They need to satisfy that reserve obligation. Yes. So it's this yen in any case should be backed by Rakuten with real cash. I mean it's in all country when you make a derivative like that, then you have some. It's not different from a bank account. You cannot have. I think it's something like 10%. If you have Ichimanen on your bank account, then the bank need to have some reserve of 1,000 yen, either in cash or with an account in the federal in the central bank. Okay, it's what we call M0 money. This is not different. Okay, but the interesting principle is that if Rakuten always permits to exchange yen directly with Bitcoin, then with your yen, you can pay in any country that accepts Bitcoin with your yen. Because under the hood, you sell your yen against Bitcoin to the bank, and the bank sends to Satoshi. Does it respond to your question?
Okay, if I have 1,000, like 10,000 yen on the blockchain,
yes.
How can I get real 1,000 yen? Can I get real fiat 1,000 Japanese yen paper money?
You mean in cash?
Yes. How can I do cash out?
So how you can cash out? It depends on the contract of Rakuten. Like I said, it's what I call a dumb contract. When Rakuten is selling those coins, then there will be a contract between the issuer and the buyer of this coin.
Is Rakuten issue Coloredcoin? Is it Rakuten who is responsible for the Coloredcoin?
Yes, right. Okay. Rakuten, the Coloredcoin is a property of it's something that is issued by Rakuten. So Rakuten have some legal obligation. So,
So
if yeah,
Rakuten Coloredcoin is variable because it's reserved by Bitcoin.
it's
Which is reserved, which is the reason of the value of the Coloredcoin. Japanese yen or Bitcoin?
so most likely it would be Bitcoin, because in principle what will happen is that when bot one pay to someone, it will be in Bitcoin. So
Okay, in that case,
it will be right.
Rakuten must have a risk because price of Bitcoin is volatile.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So this is the kind of service that we can provide our Metaco, our company. So where the bank only issue the coin and just keep the reserve in a fiat, and we Metaco or another broker, it's my company, we will provide a way for to have enough reserve to be sure that they can always pay. Someone can always pay someone else in Bitcoin with their yen. So it's basically what we want to do with my company Metaco is to make things simple for the bank. If the bank emits Ichiman N, then they just need 1,000 yen in their vault. Basically, that's what we want. But if we want to enforce that without bothering Rakuten, it means that another company can provide this service, and this is what we're going to do as Metaco.
If Coloredcoin is reserved by fiat money, I can trust the Coloredcoin because it's 100% reserved by.
Rakuten have no choice about that.
So are you saying that it's reserved? The Coloredcoin fiat is reserved by Bitcoin, and there's always price volatility of Bitcoin, and
Yeah.
it's a risk. But you will absorb that risk because you are doing kind of fractional reserve. So as long as you do fractional reserve, can you manage the risk of price volatility of Bitcoin?
Yes, so the broker that ensure that when you spend a coin, when you spend a yen, the Bitcoin is sent by someone, is risk the volatility, right? But you can trust this yen because in any case you're sure that there is a reserve in Rakuten only by decree because
Okay.
it's in the law. The bank have no
That
choice.
reserve is not Japanese yen, but
No,
Bitcoin.
no, in this case it's Japanese yen.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a bank account. It's like a bank account. If you have, like I said, if you have Ichiman N on your bank account, the bank is obligated to have a reserve of 10%, right? It is not different. This 10 Ichiman N from your bank account is the same thing than this yen. This doesn't change the fact that the bank needs a reserve for that. Okay? By decree. It's just that if we want to enable the feature where you want to cash out your yen with Bitcoin, then you need a reserve in Bitcoin, but this is a separate concern. Okay? If you want to trust yen, the only thing that you want to know is that there is a reserve backing it. And this, Rakuten, legally speaking, can't get around of that. They can't just buy Bitcoin and say it is our reserve. Okay? They are obliged to have the real reserve of either cash or in their central bank accounts. Okay?
Yes, better, much better than before for myself.
Okay.
Thanks to you.
Okay.
I'm kind of doubt that everybody is understanding. So I guess that maybe Sato-san should briefly explain about this in Japanese.
Briefly for what?
つまりこれはどういうことを今説明されたのかを日本語で簡単に説明してあげた方がおそらくここの人たちの満足度は上がる。
円を、 そうですね、楽天、例えばそのカラードコインを発行するときに一番大事なのがその発行する主体者への信頼ということなので、その発行する主体者がこの、本当はそのカラードコインって600サトシって言われるようなもう最小のそのお金を使わなくていいぐらいのビットコインとかをどっかに送ってあげて、そのアウトプットにこうスクリプトをつけてこういうふうに色付けしてあげるっていう内容なんですけど、その時に、その約束する内容、このそのすごい小さいバリューの、ビットコインっていうのはこういう内容を約束しますっていうのを自分の、例えば楽天だったら https 楽天 .com asset.json とかそういうところに書いておいてあげるんですね。それでこういう約束を私はこのアセットに対してしますということを制約します。でそれはずっとそのビットコインのブロックチェーン上に残っているので、誰もがそこからその URL を参照してこういうことを約束してるんだなっていうのを分かって、で例えば楽天だったらこの最小のビットコインっていうのは円として使えるんだなっていうことが分かる。すなわちその楽天がサイト上の標識を変えるとか発行量を変えるとか勝手に、これは0.1枚だったところを 0.00001 枚変えるとか変換を分割できるとかいうふうにするってことが可能なスキームです。So the issuer can change the amount of the Japanese yen and the divisibility and then other things can easily change on the site, right?
Yeah. Well, what we are talking about is more on the banking aspects. Yes.
Fractional reserve.
Yeah, about the fractional reserve. The major concern that Homa raised that was that this yen should not be backed by Bitcoin, but by real yen, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what your concern is about.
Basically, yes.
Yes.
If it's backed by Japanese yen, it's stable.
So yeah.
Right.
So
Coloredcoin Rakuten 1,000 yen is
backed.
possible to cash out because bank has 1,000 yen in the bank.
Yes.
Then it's 100% reserve, so I can.
This is ensured by traditional audits. You know, for example, banks have something like maybe every 3 or 4 months. I don't know which kind of period, but they have some kind of audits where some people are paid to check that if there is 10 million of in every bank account of the bank, then the bank satisfy their minimum reserve, and so this will be part of the audits, right? The bank can't escape that. It's a legal obligation for their customer.
Right.
So in any case, if they do that, you are sure that it's backed, not 100%, because it's not, right now it's not, even your bank account, they don't do that. So it will,
are you saying that you will allow Rakuten to do fractional reserve for Coloredcoin?
it's their decision. It's their decision, yes. I expect, we don't know yet, but I expect that they will use the same rule than traditional bank accounts.
It's very smart of you.
Mm.
So I am saying that you are providing Coloredcoin Japanese yen for Rakuten, but with your sophisticated service.
Well, yes. And so this aspect is the interesting thing that in our, like I said, is to have this self-enforcing contract. That this contract can stay long. Okay, one contract can take 6 months to resolve. So if you want to provide stability in your self-enforcing contract, then you can use this Coloredcoin. It is a point of using a Coloredcoin instead of a traditional wire transfer. In a traditional wire transfer, then you need a lawyer if you get scammed. With Bitcoin, you don't need a lawyer.
I see.
Okay, this is a so
to do this scheme, you do not need a big amount of Bitcoin, but you need 1 Satoshi, 2 Satoshi, or 100 Satoshi to handle this, because you will focus on smart contract side of the blockchain, and you will disregard the value price of Bitcoin. You regardless of amount of Bitcoin, can you do this smart contract thing?
Yes. So the only thing that might be a problem in the future, but we don't know, is that, like I said, a contract on the blockchain, you need to pay for it. You pay not a lawyer, you pay a miner for that. The question is, will the cost of such contract will be higher in the future and render such a self-enforcing contract worth it? Right now, a transaction on the blockchain, it's something like 1 cent USD. It's nothing. But we can very much imagine a future where the blockchain is so much used for self-enforcing contract that the mining price will rise. At one point, if we imagine maybe 100 years, or maybe faster if possible, I would like to, but it can happen that one day the cost of self-enforcing contract is higher than a lawyer, and in this case, it will go back in the other way and come back in wire transfer, for example. You can imagine that. Yeah, does it respond? So the thing is that, yeah, you only, in any way, every time you make a transfer to Alice from Bonn, you always need some kind of Bitcoin to pay the miners. But also there is solution, but I don't want to be too technical, but there is some solution where Alice only gets yen and we pay the miner in another system, but it's more technical. Okay?
Do you, do you, one of the problem about the Coloredcoin is to need the Bitcoin to send the Coloredcoin. That is the problem, right?
So, yes, so if you want to send and use the Bitcoin network, you need to pay Bitcoin and not yen. So some people would say, then Alice needs some Bitcoin to make the business. But in reality, but I won't dive too deeply into the detail, but what can happen is that with the same system as here, when Alice wants to send the transaction, she will pay Rakuten the yen, and Rakuten will send the Bitcoin to the miner. And the same principle than that here. But for now we don't care because it's only 1 cent, 20 cents, so we can always pay for Alice. No, it's not very expensive, but if it comes to be expensive, then there is this solution where Alice sends her yen to Rakuten, and Rakuten pays the fees in Bitcoin.
For Alice.
For Alice, yes.
How many times? Yeah, because Alice will pay them many times. Then Alice needs a lot of Bitcoin. It's a transaction fee.
So I guess that to do this, transaction fee is required, but that transaction fee is negligible. So it's right now it's very low. So you do not care who will pay the cost.
Yes, but what I want to say is, like, the day we care, it will be solvable by this principle, because since she at the end she can send to Rakuten, and Rakuten can send the Bitcoin to the miner all in one transaction. Okay, you don't have to have several transactions for that. I don't know what you meant by.
But then Alice will use this Japanese yen as a normal Japanese yen to send the Bobo or some kind of other persons.
Sorry?
Alice would like to send Japanese yen Coloredcoin to other person. Then Alice needs a transaction fee by herself.
Yes.
Yeah, in this case, and Alice is a normal person who don't know about the Bitcoin and don't have the Bitcoin.
Yeah, but as I said, the wallet in this case can make Alice pay Rakuten in yen and Rakuten pay in Bitcoin the miner's fee. So Alice don't have to know about Bitcoin.
Bank is like a repo.
The legal obligation of the bank is to provide exchange. Okay. This exchange, the legal obligation of the bank is exchange Coloredcoin against fiat. This is our basic obligation. Then, if we want to provide yen against Bitcoin, then you need other service. But I don't want to enter too much into that because it's more like it's a banking problem. But the point is that if Alice have only Coloredcoin, she can do the transaction because she can exchange her yen, and the person with who she exchanged the yen can pay the fees.
Yes, yen.
Yes.
What is the advantage of the repo?
Over
Repo.
Over Ripple. So I can't really speak about Ripple because, like I said before, between scam and not, you need to know about the technical aspect of the solution to be able to compare theory. I never read technically deeply about Ripple, so I can't really say. From what I heard is that Ripple is centralized and can be subject to
government intervention?
Yes.
About Ripple,
Ripple don't have self-enforcing contract, basically. That's the main problem. Yes.
we need to trust both Ripple and the two gateways.
Yeah.
So if two gateways and Ripple are trusted, we can trust the transaction.
So there is lots of The basic principle, the basic problem of Ripple is like that. Is that they don't provide self-enforcing contracts. That's the main problem. If there is a problem, you will always.
At
need
least
to,
I can trust
Yes.
the Bitcoin blockchain and
Yes.
the contract and Bitcoin.
In this case, you always need to trust Rakuten. In any case, you always need to trust Rakuten and mix the risk, because if there is a crisis, for example, then Rakuten might not be able to convert to yen, like we have seen in Greece, right?
So single point of failure is only the bank.
It's only a bank, yes. It's
And
only
the Metaco
issuer.
maybe.
And not Metaco, because so if Metaco, we are just a little bit a point of failure, because Metaco will help to provide yen to Bitcoin conversion. The bank doesn't provide that. Okay, so if we are in trouble, then people will not be able to cash out their yen in Bitcoin, but they will be able to cash out their yen with real cash yen, which what matter to them at the end of the day. So basically, the real even if Metaco fail, what is important for you is that you can go back to Rakuten and sell your coin to them against cash. This is what matters.
I use the most sophisticated Coloredcoin company in the world. Is there any company which is doing the similar thing?
So basically, I will say yes, but they didn't spoke too much about it. The Nasdaq. So the Nasdaq wanted to use. They made an announce some time ago. I think it's maybe 5 or 6 months ago, where they wanted to use the open asset protocol. So it's a protocol for doing Coloredcoin, like that kind of thing, for trading not currencies but company share. So in this case, the Nasdaq, the company will be able to emit shares as form of Coloredcoins. Okay, we heard about that. They didn't communicate a lot about that, so I don't know more. But yes, there is definitely some interest into that space.
Are you saying that open asset protocol is handling fiat money?
Open asset so the concept of Coloredcoin is here we have take the fiat example, but it can be a stock. Okay, this is important. It can be anything. That's why sometimes I prefer using the term assets instead of Coloredcoin. Everybody know what an asset is. Okay, so it can be a stock. If Nasdaq does something, it will likely be a stock. If it's a bank, it will likely be a currency. It can be a commodity also. We can imagine that, for example, some gold coin as Coloredcoin. So it can be anything after. It's just the Coloredcoin is only a concept that you have a self-enforcing contract with some token of some signification. This token called Coloredcoin can be a fiat, like I detailed, or it can be a stock, or it can be a commodity. But what is important, like you say, that it's always come down to the risk of disparity or failing. It's the most important risk. Okay? If one day, maybe in the future, we don't know, the central bank of Japan decide to emit real yen on the blockchain, then there is no risk anymore. Okay? But maybe in the future, in 2000 year, and again, I don't know. But it can theoretically happen.
Fantastic.
Okay?
So the time is coming, and we'll make some name card exchange.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I hope
I guess that everybody has a question still
Oh,
for your presentation.
yeah, any question? So don't hesitate. I know that sometimes maybe I talk a little bit quick in English. Maybe next time, in 2 or 3 months, I will be able to do it in Japanese. な、頑張ります。でもまだ少し難しい。So, any question? You can 日本語で多分聞ける。You can ask maybe in Japanese.
And you answer English. And you answer English.
Yes, yes, that's a good training. No question?
日本のバンクともうすでに話されてます。
その話さ？
つまりAre you thinking of Japanese bank to do this business?
多分 I don't know. I have not contacted them yet. We have banks interested in Europe right now. So
if you are interested in visiting Japanese bank, let's go.
Yeah, thanks.
I'd like to go with you.
Thanks. So yes, we're in Europe right now. So my company basically we're providing the technical infrastructure for doing that, and right now we are contacting European banks, and we are raising funds. And once we have done that, we'll go to lots of different countries to try to get trusted bank on board. Because if a European bank emits yen, nobody here will trust them. So that's a big deal. If we want to emit yen, we need
possible.
It's possible in theory, right? But if you want to emit some yen, it's better to have a Japanese bank.
Right.
So that's our basic problem right now. And so now we are dealing with Europe for having Euro, CHF, and USD maybe.
Euro, CHF, USD.
Yes, it will be our first, I think. So this is our first goal, and then we'll try to move on other currencies. It will become easier.
What's the motivation of the bank to work with you? Like right now, it's kind of Bitcoin is volatile, so they have to take a risk for exchange.
So basically, where the bank makes the money is that every time the bank will emit some coin, once they can take some percentage for emission, maybe 1 or 2%, something like that. Okay? So the problem, like you said, is that in this system, if Rakuten sends directly Bitcoin to Satoshi, then Rakuten needs Bitcoin reserve, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're right, this is a problem that bank won't like, and it's why in our business we want the bank not to do that. In fact, the transaction in Bitcoin and Satoshi, it will be with our company, Metaco, or another, we call them the broker. Okay, it can be Metaco or another company, but basically Metaco will have a reserve of this currency and a reserve of Bitcoin. It is our business, and then when people will want to make a trade like that, we will be the one, or the broker be the one to send to Satoshi. But the principle is that we also want the bank to be able to do that by themselves, if they want to, and we will provide the software for them to be a broker if they want. But it can be two separated business that do that. Okay. So basically, if the bank don't care about Bitcoin, don't want to have anything to do with Bitcoin, they can just say, we provide, you ask us, you send us some yen, and we give you back some Coloredcoin. That's all. That's all what we want to do. They can do that. But if they want to go more deeply, they will be able to run our own software for being a broker and be able to ensure the conversion to yen to Bitcoin. But they don't have to. They don't have to. It's an option.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other question? Okay. So, ありがとうございました。So yeah, don't hesitate to ask me questions if you want. I still be here. So Tomoaki, I give you the microphone.
Then yeah, meet up is over. Yes, じゃあ30分ぐらいこの進会をした後に帰る人は帰ってで開発する人は開発をここで残ってという形で。
そうですね。一旦じゃあここで名刺交換をちょっと狭いですけどもしていただいて、で人数見てまだ大量であればちょっと広い部屋取ってますんでそっちに通したいと思います。
すみません、1点質問いいでしょうか。次の開発なんですけれども、ネット環境とかって実は無線のなんか、今ちょっと Wi-Fi が繋がらない。
はい、ディストルの Wi-Fi ありますからありませんね。はい。後ほどちょっと説明します。あ、そうですね。
じゃあ
一旦ここで皆さんできる限り交換とちょっと暑いんで開けますか。
今日だけだと思います。
一旦移動しましょうか。すみません、ちょっと広い部屋に移動します。はい、そうですね。
So we basically, so I know the one my company that's about that. Okay, I know what they are. Their goal is to have one bank trusted in each country for hand and with trust tracked. So that's how you was to have their limits. So in Switzerland they have their own bank also, in France, in Europe they have their own bank. So the principle is always to have a trusted bank locally that does the emission.
Switzerland emits customers' information by the regulatory.